Hello, everyone. This is Tony Weeks. I'm the safety manager here at Vision, and I'm bringing you the October 2024 installment of the safety meeting if you missed it. So, again, this is a required 1 hour training session. It's part of your 8 hours required training per calendar year. And if you watch this video because you couldn't make it in person, just a reminder you get paid 1/2 hour. Whereas if you make the training in person, you get paid the full hour. Anyways, lots to cover, so here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit about the new radio use. All vehicles should have the new radios in them. Reminder, hold down that button until you hear the 3 beeps. That allows the radio to catch up the repeater. So don't speak until you hear those beeps. Make sure you're holding that microphone at your chin level and just speak normally, speak calmly, speak slow. Try not to be too excited, and that just makes you hard to understand on the other end. And when you do speak, make sure you start off with your route number and you're calling base. Report any issues you do have with your radio. If you're not being heard or you can't hear dispatch, something like that, make sure you're letting front counter staff know. And then lastly, make sure we keeping the nonsense off the radio. Complaining to your neighbor, complaining about your neighbor, talking about other people's students doing things on their bus. Just a good reminder, watch your own bobber. If you have a particular problem with the way somebody's handling their students on their bus, either speak to them in person, or if you're not comfortable doing that, bring it up to front counter staff so that can be addressed. Just a reminder that everyone has to listen to the radio, including school district employees, and we want to sound professional, and not everyone wants to hear everybody's gripes on the radio. So please keep it professional, be the adult, and keep it off the radio. Second slide here is just a photograph of what the new radios look like. They're already programmed for the type of vehicle you're in, so you don't have to worry about changing channels or anything. And the volume automatically adjusts when the vehicle is restarted. So if you're in a regular ed vehicle, when you start the bus or um, the vehicle, you're going to hear a regular ed announcement come on once the radio comes up. And then same thing if you're in a sped vehicle. So again, no need to adjust any channels, should be on the proper channel for you to use. All right, a little reminder on accident procedure. Um, First and foremost, we need a police report for any collision out there. That means any damage involving property damage with another vehicle, a fixed object, and obviously any personal injury accidents. Procedure is going to be call 911 first from your cell phone. That way, dispatch has the GPS coordinates to notify police, ambulance, fire. A lot of times when drivers do get involved in a crash, they're a little bit rattled and don't know exactly where they're at. This takes the guesswork out of it, and it eliminates the middleman. So call 911 dispatch. They'll send police, fire. First thing they're going to ask is if there's any injuries. So make sure you make an assessment of that right away before you call. Getting on the PA, making an announcement, show of hands, just walk the full length of your vehicle, make sure everybody's okay, call 911. After that, use the radio and call Vision dispatch and notify them that police have been called and try to give them the best update you can. They might have some follow-up questions procedure-wise and all that. Otherwise, after that, you're going to get busy completing your accident kit, which is a contains all the insurance information for the vehicle that you're in, along with a seating chart that you'll complete as to where all the students were seated at the time of the crash. And then again, remain on the scene and wait for that police report, police response. If you're in harm's way, you're still out in the roadway, it is okay for you to move the vehicle off to the side of the roadway. A reminder to put your hazards on, um, strobe light, anything to light yourself up, yourself out of harm's way, um, and wait for that police response. Don't let any of the students off the vehicle, off the bus. Safest place for them is to remain on the vehicle after a crash, unless a mandatory evacuation would be required. And that's if there is a gas leak or an active fire, or you're in harm's way getting hit by a third vehicle or something. So keep the kids on the bus. They're going to be calling parents and everything to the scene with their phones. So you can have people showing up demanding that their child be released. You can't do that until police arrive and authorize that to happen. So after the fact, need you to come back to Vision and report the accident right away by completing an incident report. So that is another form that's downstairs in the lunchroom here at Elk River. At other locations, just in your own words, what happened. Again, that only gets released to Vision staff here, to management, the training team, to assess and determine whether or not retraining is required. If there is anything, you as the driver, if you were at fault, obviously would work with you on retraining and how we could do things better going forward. Also, please be familiar with page number 41 in your employee handbook. There it talks about collisions and preventable collisions specifically, and what is going to happen with each one and the time frame that those occur will result in different types of disciplinary action, retraining action. So please be familiar with that. Obviously, we want safe drivers out there, and if retraining is not doing it for you, then we might have to look at some alternate action to help curb some bad habits and prevent some collisions. Those that were at the meeting in person, they got to take part in Halloween trivia time. All right, we're going to take a little time here to talk about the Elk River parking lot here at Vision. Obviously, a very busy location, many employees, many moving parts, and we actually did add on to the parking lot there along the north side. So just a reminder, park and stop and or wait in designated or painted spots only. Please don't make your own parking spot. Please don't leave your car abandoned, unattended, running in front of the front door while you come in to check in with dispatch. I've seen people leaving kids in cars, animals in cars. Either way, the car is parked there unattended. It causes other people to have to get frustrated and drive around waiting for someone to move, and it's a potential target for auto thieves. A lot of that is going on throughout the metro area, so if you leave that ignition open, you're probably going to be labeled at fault. So again, you might have to walk a little bit further distance, but again, park in a legal marked parking spot. As you enter the yard from Elk Lake Road, we want you to follow the correct direction into the parking lot. That is making the immediate left-hand turn and coming around and exiting out directly in front of the front door. We're having people come in the wrong ways, and it's causing for blind spots just due to the diagonal, the angle the vehicle parking is slotted in there. So make sure you follow it around, take that immediate left and go around, and then make sure we're keeping that entrance to the yard clear. The area in between the office building and the barn where all the buses are parked, that is pretty narrow. And if we have people making their own parking spots on the outside of that, it makes it even more narrow. We need to be able to get two buses to pass each other through that area. There's also a lot of pedestrian traffic, drivers walking in between there, and drivers with small children. So let's keep that area open. As you do enter into the yard from the street, so going past the office building and going past the bus garage, we want to stay left of the fuel island. All of those vans are parked alongside the barn, angled at a direction to go out on that side. So we can't come into the yard staying right of the fuel island. So stay left all the time as you're entering. Also make sure you're yielding to any vehicles that are currently backing. So pay attention, look for those hazard lights, sounds of the backup alarms on the buses. Anybody backing up, they have the struggle with visibility, so give them the right of way, wait for them to back up completely, and then you may go. The area in midday out in front of the office and directly in front of the barn, that is for midday vehicles only and other drivers that have permission to park their vehicles there. So again, don't leave your personal vehicle in that area. And if you finish your AM route and you don't have a route till PM, make sure you put it back on the numbered spot in the parking lot or the proper lane in the barn. Also, on the back side of the building where the shop is located, please avoid parking in front of those cones that are marked off in those spots. The shop needs access to that area to get equipment in and out of the shop. Proper fueling technique, that's going to start with entering the correct mileage. So if you're like me and forgetful from the time you leave your bus to the pump and you forget your mileage, make sure you write it down on your hand or a piece of paper. So you're going to enter the correct mileage. That way it keeps track of the maintenance schedule for the vehicle you're driving. If you enter the incorrect mileage, that throws things out of whack for oil changes and other maintenance. So again, enter the correct mileage and make sure you stay outside of your vehicle while it's fueling. That way, if the nozzle doesn't shut off or accidentally falls out and it's still pumping gas, you can quick grab it and shut it down. We don't need any more fuel leaks onto the pad out there. That causes obviously an issue. And then make sure you're taking care of your partners, your vehicle partners. First and foremost, make sure that vehicle is fueled before it reaches half a tank. Get down to a half a tank, make sure you fill it up. Not only that keeps your partner happy so that if they're running behind, they don't have to worry about getting fuel before they leave. Also, we're required, mandated under contract with the state of Minnesota, if there is an emergency declaration, we need to have fuel in the buses to go evacuate kids from schools. So again, keep them at half tank or above, please. For anyone that pulls a trailer doing any charter or trip work, make sure you are not connecting or disconnecting the trailers yourself. This should be handled by shop staff going forward. Trailers will be inspected by shop staff before they get hooked up to the bus for any damage. and they will be re-inspected upon return. So if you do have the unfortunate incident of damaging a trailer sometime throughout your trip, please report that immediately when you get back in. Fill out that incident report so that we can get those fixed immediately. Um, any questions on that, make sure you talk to Maddie or Todd in the shop. Part of your pre-trip process on your vehicle should include pre-tripping the cameras to make sure they are working. By contract with the school district, we are required to have working cameras. If you find that one of your cameras is not working and the button is not lit up, make sure you notify dispatch and get a different vehicle. You want that peace of mind should something happen on your vehicle during your route. You want to have yourself covered by having that camera working. Make sure we write up on a repair slip any cameras that are not working. The next slide is actually going to show some pictures of the actively working camera buttons. All right, as you can see, you got the green light on the button on your left for that particular system. You got the active green lights for the Pro Vision there in the middle. And then for the other cameras, you got that circular button with a triangle in the middle that is lit up green. If you do not have green, that means you do not go. Make sure you write up that vehicle and get a different one with a working camera. Speed limits, Vision parking lots. Reminder, speed limit is only 5 miles an hour. That is going to be very slow, pretty much riding your brake. And the reason being is there's a lot of moving parts, like I said earlier, a lot of pedestrian traffic, people with small children, a lot of blind spots, blind areas. So please slow down here at Vision. Be respectful of your partners who you work with. Elk River School District parking lot speed 10 miles an hour. Again, it's slow, and reason being is you have a lot of kids at schools and a lot of vehicle traffic in and out, creating blind spots. So again, please slow down. Roundabouts are generally going to be posted at 15 miles per hour. So make sure we're coming into those slowly and we're looking to our left to try and gauge what traffic is approaching and try to time our entry appropriately. Speed limit on the roadways, the speed limit is the limit. It's not keeping up with the flow of traffic. If you keep up with the flow of traffic, you are going to be 15 miles per hour over the limit. Again, it's not a good look for you if you're getting stopped and cited by the police when it comes to paying fines, insurance, and it's definitely not a good look for Vision employees either. So please slow down out there. A reminder, and I always say it, we get paid by the hour. So if you're running behind, deal with it. Just notify dispatch if you're running 10 or 15 minutes down. Please make sure when we're checking in daily at your locations, make sure you get seen. Make sure you're making face-to-face contact with someone behind the plexiglass. We're having drivers and assistants getting missed, and that results in some panic as to who did not show up for the route and coverage and that sort of thing. That being said, please don't congregate by the front desk down there. It gets loud, it gets hectic, and that's also how drivers and other employees are getting missed. We're having too many people congregate there in groups. So please, if you have any business at all with front desk personnel or questions for people regarding routing and or students, please save that for after route when you come back in. That critical time when it's check-in daily, we need to keep that area clear, quiet, and you need to be seen. So make that face-to-face contact with staff down there. Proper hood opening on the buses. We've had some damage to hoods by drivers opening them inappropriately, so make sure we're using that cutout in the center of the hood right in the middle. We undo both latches on each side, and you should be able to lift with one hand using that cutout from the very middle and give it a little back support. Don't just fling it open and let it fly. That's going to be very hard on the hood hinges, and we actually had one break recently. And those hoods are heavy, so if you're standing in front, fling it open and that thing comes off and hits you, it's going to leave a mark. So again, give it a little back pressure as you're opening and make sure we're shutting them gently. And if again you're like me and you're forgetful, make sure while you're shutting the hood, latch it right away. Don't think you're going to walk around to the back side of the bus, do something else, and then remember to latch it later. Do it while you're thinking of it, and that way it doesn't get forgotten. And this was just a video, short video, showing how to properly open a hood. And that's it. All right, in your employee handbook, there is a policy regarding idling of vehicles. Guidelines are listed here. So above 20 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 to 3 minute maximum idle time. Below 20 degrees, it's going to be a 10-minute maximum idle time. Again, we want to avoid wasting of fuel, exhaust fumes at the schools. No reason to get to the schools early before your route. Try to show up just before you are to pick up the students. That'll eliminate the amount of time sitting there and having to stay warm. And again, use your common sense in winter events or any weather event. If you're experiencing, heavy rain with fogging of the windows, we got icing, active snow, ice in the winter. We need to make sure we keep that windshield clear. So again, at that point, you're going to go ahead and idle that bus to keep things from icing up. And some reports coming in of drivers not using their 8 ways for student stops or discharges. And again, it's just a good reminder. We need to make sure we're using the 8 ways for every single stop. Unless you have a stop on your route paperwork that is listed as a hazard stop, that would be on a roadway that has a higher speed like Highway 10 or Highway 169. In that case, you would not use your 8 ways. It would be approved by the school district for you to use your hazards, your 4 ways only in those situations. So you would pull over off to the shoulder on the side of the road using your blinker, stop, bus in neutral, parking brake, turn on your hazards, make your stop, and then get back out into traffic. Otherwise, we're going to use our 8 ways for every single stop. We're going to activate the ambers between 100 and 300 feet based on that 35-mile-per-hour speed limit. So if the speed limit is 35 or less, you want to activate the ambers a minimum of 100 feet before your stop. And if the speed limit is 36 or more, you're going to up that minimum to 300 feet. And again, you're just telling traffic, hey, pay attention, I'm coming to a stop here, so start slowing down. We want to hold the middle of the rightmost lane. So we're going to stay in the middle of the lane. We're not going to hug to the right. We're not going to go to the shoulder. We're not going to give any indication for traffic to try and pass us. So hold the middle of the rightmost lane. If you have a stop in a bypass lane or a turn lane, you are going to signal. You're going to get over into that lane, make your stop or discharge, and signal, get back out into traffic. Reason being is we never want to leave a lane door side open. We don't want people to think that there's room to pass door side because obviously that's where these students are going to be located. So as we're coming to that stop, we know we activate the amber 8 ways. We count heads as we're approaching, count the number of students that are there that you're going to pick up. And then we're going to activate our red 8 ways after we check all mirrors. So before letting kids off, we want to check all mirrors, look for traffic approaching fast from the rear, look in the front, and then we want to open that door or activate the stop arm and the red lights and the crossing arm or safety arm. We don't want to let the kids right away off the bus without looking. That's when bad things happen. So make sure we look, open up the door, activate the reds, make sure things are safe before you do so. This is a short video that I showed in the class. It's not going to work here for this recording, but a reason why you want to check those mirrors before you crack open your door on a student stop or discharge. This driver, school bus driver, at the last second caught this van approaching fast from the rear, and the van blew right by the loading door. Driver started to open the door, saw the van approaching, and quickly shut the door and disengaged the student discharge at that time. So good alert driver, saved some lives here from potential injuries. So pay attention to those mirrors before you crack that door. Don't just do it automatically. Don't just blindly open the door thinking everybody is going to stop. Please make sure we're not allowing students to eat or drink on the bus. Anything other than water is not acceptable. Eating on the bus is causes a choking hazard along with food allergies, especially those suckers that the kids are eating. If you have to stop quick, get involved in a crash, and they go forward and their face slams into the seat in front of them, they're going to end up choking on that sucker or that candy. So if you see it, make sure they hand it over, put it in the garbage can on the way in. The school district is working hard this year with us and with school staff so that school staff is not providing them with candy or treats to bring onto the bus in the afternoon. So if you are seeing that, make sure you report that to front counter staff or any vision staff so that we can specifically address those schools that are allowing that to happen. So again, no food or drink on the bus. If you want to give any kind of reward or treat to the students for good behavior, which is always encouraged, make sure you're filling out that positive behavior report. Give them stickers, give them decals, give them something else other than food. Proper rail crossings. We've had some citizen complaints, from other motorists out there that our drivers are not making proper stops at rail crossings. So again, if you drive anything yellow, that includes the big buses, that includes the sped buses. It does not include the van drivers. Type 3 drivers do not have to stop at a rail crossing. Anybody driving anything yellow has to stop at a crossing, whether they're loaded or unloaded. So again, stop at a rail crossing unless it is marked exempt. So there's one out in Monticello, there's a few around that are marked exempt, and the reason being is that trains do not go through there on a regular basis. So if it's not marked exempt, make sure we're stopping. A reminder that we can cross here in Elk River on Proctor and Highway 10 and Main Street at Highway 10. Jackson Avenue is a no cross. It's not long enough on the Highway 10 side for us to stop, activate the hazards, the four ways. So again, do not cross at Jackson. Make sure we're pulling up to that white stop line, which is going to be between 15 and 50 feet from the nearest rail. We want to keep the bus in drive. We want to open that door. We want to make sure our window is open. We want to look, listen both directions twice. Shut that door, get across the tracks, turn off your hazards at that point. There should be a crossbuck painted on the roadway before you approach any rail crossing. That's when you turn on your four-way hazards. Again, that's going to be speed limit dependent on how far out that crossbuck is painted on the road. So make sure we're paying attention in doing proper rail crossings. I touched on it just a little bit ago here, but again, please acknowledge good student behavior by filling out those positive behavior forms, which are downstairs in the lunchroom and should be available at all locations. We want to recognize good behavior in real time. When, if possible, get on that PA and acknowledge that little Johnny did something right or was acting in a positive manner. Kids are going to try to gain attention either way, and the more you can recognize the good behavior, the more other students are going to want to emulate that and get the same recognition. So talk directly to the students, fill out those forms, reward them with stickers or something other than candy. Time off requests. Please, please, please try to give more advance notice on any time off that you're wanting to take. Realize, when you're sick, you're sick. You don't plan on getting sick. Kids get sick. But, calling in 10 minutes before your route is about to start causes problems for everyone working here. So please try to give advance notice, get up early. If you're thinking you're feeling sick the night before, leave a message on the after hours line, something of that nature. Make direct contact with your manager. Don't just turn in a time off request form in a basket somewhere. Paperwork does get picked up, mixed with other paperwork, it gets set down, it gets lost. So you got a vacation request or something like that, just make sure you hand it directly to front counter staff or management here so that it gets into the right hands so it can be processed readily. Student discipline follow-up. There will be information eventually coming to the employee portal on your prior student referrals for discipline. Still trying to figure out what exact information can be shared and how it's going to be done. But there will be something on the portal to give some feedback as to what your write-up resulted in. As of now, there's no timeline on that, but it is in the works, so stay tuned for that. And lastly, tidbits, reminders, kind of the catch-all here at the end for late entries on thoughts. But use your four ways, use your hazards when loading or unloading curbside at the schools. If you're in the angled slots in the afternoon, your parking order, you can use your four-way hazards for a little added visibility. But the idea is when the four ways are on, when you're curbside, it lets other traffic know, other drivers know that you're in the process of loading, unloading, and they should not be passing. Again, that's all dependent on how wide the parking lot is. Communication over the radio, safe passing can be done at that point, but again, use the four-way, the hazards when you're curbside loading or unloading. And then also when it comes to filling out student discipline referrals, make sure we're only filling out one referral per student per route. It's all the same action by that one student, so not necessary to write up little Johnny for eating one time along the route, um, throwing things or being out of his seat another time. It's all one action, it's one route, one referral per student.